Welcome to the News Hour. The leaders of two of Asia's largest economies are visiting rival capitals in the war in Ukraine. Chinese President Xi Jinping has held talks with Russia's Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin on day 2 of his visit to Moscow. Last month,
China values the friendship between China and Russia. This has historical logic because we are neighbours and two large countries. We're also strategic partners. Such a position determines that we have a very close relationship.
Last month, China presented a peace plan to end the war in Ukraine. President Vladimir Putin said Russia is open to a political and diplomatic solution.
We have considered your proposals for settlement of the Ukraine crisis. Of course, we will have an opportunity to discuss this. We know that you are basing this on principle of fairness and upholding the principle of the international law, indivisible security for all countries. You also know that we're always open to negotiations. We will discuss all these issues, including your initiative.
Meanwhile, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is making a surprise trip to Kyiv to meet President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. It's Kishida's first trip to Ukraine since Russia invaded a year ago. Well, let's talk to our correspondents in a moment. We'll be speaking to Stephanie Decker in Kyiv, but first, Yulia Shapilova in Moscow. And Yulia, let's just begin with the timeline of the leaders' meeting and where we can expect them to speak later in the day publicly.
At the moment, as you've just mentioned, we know that President Xi has met with Russia's Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin. They discussed the mutual partnership, various projects like the development of the Trans-Siberian and Trans-Asian railways and so on. While Vladimir Putin and the Chinese president will hold official talks at the Grand Kremlin Palace. The meeting will begin in approximately 2 hours' time from now. Members of the two delegations will join their leaders at the meeting, so it's going to be a busy day for all. The parties will discuss energy, military technical cooperation, trade and economic cooperation, and so on. And we've also heard from leader of the communist faction of the State Duma, the lower house of Russian parliament, Gennady Zyuganov, and he said that he too will be meeting the Chinese leader later today and tomorrow.
So how is this actually being publicised to the Russian public at large?
Oh, absolutely. I've been watching and listening to various TV and news outlets to gauge their opinions, and obviously all are talking about the visit here. Some newspapers published just official protocol information, but many authors and experts just say about benefits of the Russian-Chinese political and economic partnership. Officially, Russia expresses an opinion that this is an example of China's unprecedented support for Russia, almost the formation of a military political alliance. Some are saying about a strategic partnership between Russia and China without any alliance. The business community is reacting quite actively. Many representatives of big business are very much interested. Some are personally involved in what's going on. They understand that depending on agreements on what kind of industries will be involved in the partnership, those industries will thrive, they will receive support, investments, all sort of benefits, they will develop and eventually get profit. So there is room for maneuver, of course, especially when so many foreign industries and enterprises have left Russia, like Western and Japanese car manufacturers, electronics producers, multinational giants like IKEA, etc. Many talk politics, saying that the two countries are trying to change the unipolar world. Russia, particularly, sometimes using war. Well, Russia is trying to change that unipolar world politically, rather, sometimes using war as a tool, China economically using diplomacy and trade. And this visit is designed to synchronize the global goals of the two countries. But at the same time, we hear some voices are saying that none other than China can play a mediating role in resolving the crisis between Russia and Ukraine. China shows it can talk to anyone. It demonstrates that its peace proposals are accepted by many countries. Peace initiatives are supported and accepted by Russia. China is a peacemaker, especially in the backdrop, against the backdrop of the agreements between Iran and Saudi Arabia, between Syria and the UAE.
We shall see what happens through the day. Yulia Shapilova in Moscow. Thank you. Let's cross over to Stephanie Decker, who's in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. And good to have you with us, Steph. I mean, how's Ukraine reacting to Xi's visit across the border, considering they have their own high-profile visitor arriving from Asia?
Yes. Yeah, so far they've said very little, most of their action really coming out of Washington. Kyiv has maintained that it's willing to meet the Chinese president. We've actually heard one of the officials saying that they'll wait and see whether they will get a call. There has been some speculation that Xi Jinping may call Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the Ukrainian leader, after his summit with Putin. We'll have to wait and see. Yes, you're mentioning there another economic powerhouse coming to visit. I think significantly, certainly, that you have, China and Japan, opposite ends of when it comes to this conflict. And we have this visit. We're expecting Fumio Kishida, the Japanese Prime Minister, to arrive at any time this afternoon for talks with the Ukrainian leadership. And from what we understand from the Japanese Foreign Ministry giving a statement, it's basically a trip to show solidarity, support for the resilience of the Ukrainian people. Japan has been supporting Ukraine with humanitarian means, with economic assistance. Of course, nothing when it comes to military, and that's in line with its past. It is also the first time that a post-war Japanese leader is visiting a war zone. So I think certainly in terms of a PR, in terms of the split screen potentially that you'll see on the media, two major leaders on opposite ends of when it comes to this conflict, the ideology of it, meeting at the same time.
Stephanie Decker there for us in Kyiv. Thank you.